A lecture hall was about the last place that Icon wanted to be right at the moment. The course was called Social Commentary in Documentary Film, which, for a film fan and aspiring director such as herself, should have been a really interesting and exciting class. The only problem was that the professor who taught the class was easily one of the most boring people Icon had ever heard speak. During most of his lectures, she found that she had to resist the powerful urge to put on her headphones and listen to the dolphin mantra. That would have been rude, but damn, this guy was boring. Hi, I'm Neal A. Yeager, and today I'm reading from my novel, Non-Hollywood. By the way, you'll notice that the character Icon is always listening to a band called the Dolphin Mantra. Now, the Dolphin Mantra is a real project, which I was involved with, which I think turned out pretty cool. You can check out the Dolphin Mantra on Spotify and other streaming platforms. Just check them out. Anyway, this is Chapter 38, Social Commentary in Documentary Film. Of course, even if the professor had been less dull and would have been able to make the class as exciting as it should have been, on this particular day, Icon probably would have been too distracted to focus anyway. She had made the deal to buy the 16mm film package from the Hollywood cinematographer. This afternoon, she would go withdraw the money from the bank, and the cinematographer and his assistant would bring all of the film gear to her apartment. She was soon to be the proud owner of a whole lot of professional film equipment. Icon popped an antacid, then put 2 fingers up to her neck and felt her pulse. It was racing. She placed her hand to her forehead. It was burning up. She knew from past experience that she had to think of something else or she would be facing a full-on panic attack within the next 10 minutes. She turned her attention to the droning professor. Her hope was that his monotone litany would act as some sort of calming agent. After all, he did manage to put several students to sleep each class. But in this instance, it didn't help her. Instead, her thoughts merely turned toward the frustration of knowing that she had paid for this, paid to be bored out of her skull. So that hadn't worked. As her attention started to drift to this afternoon's upcoming deal, she forced herself to instead think of the project which she intended to shoot with this equipment. She had written a script which she described as an exploration of different levels of belief. Though she was not herself a religious person, she had always been fascinated by those who were. It seemed to her that when looking at belief, whether religious belief or any other, there were basically 3 different levels. Now at the top were the zealots, those for whom their beliefs were everything. Their actions were completely dictated by those beliefs. Zealots refused the possibility that they were wrong, and they were willing to do whatever they felt was necessary for that belief. The second level contained your churchgoers. Those people who believed and felt that their beliefs were an important part of their lives and an important part of who they were, but who also realized that the beliefs were simply a part of their lives and not the be-all, end-all. The third level would be the non-practicing, those who, when asked, would profess a belief, but aside from that, the belief played very little role in their lives. And the interesting thing about this theory of 3 levels was that it applied to pretty much anything that anyone would believe in, even non-belief. For instance, among those who were not religious, there were the so-called rabid atheists, for whom debunking religion seemed to be their main goal in life. Then there were the humanist sorts, who felt that recognizing their lack of belief was important, and an important moral guiding force, but it was not the only force of their lives. Then you had the non-believers, for whom thoughts of religion one way or another really had little to do with their lives. The script that Icon had written contained 6 characters, each representing one of the 3 levels of religious belief or disbelief. The conflict of the story was that one of the characters was teetering on indecision as to which side and at which level he belonged. Now that she thought about it, maybe it wasn't the most exciting idea for a film plot. She looked up at the professor who had disappointed her. Actually, the main reason that she was taking social commentary and documentary film was that it was a prerequisite to the course Social Commentary in Narrative Film. That was the class which she had hoped would help her shape the script she had been working on. But after seeing how dull this professor was, and knowing that he also taught the class on narrative film, Icon had gone ahead and finished the script without the class. She was on her own on this one. And as she thought of that, and of this huge monetary commitment that she was about to make, she began to hyperventilate. So, in the middle of the lecture, her heart racing, her breathing quick, her forehead burning, Icon stood up and dashed out of the room.